From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, we hop into the mailbag. Renegade Express, lots of questions about the transfer portal. Are we nervous at all about what's going on with Keon Coleman and Jaylen Key? Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. That's in Tallahassee, Florida. You know that. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday for only $8.99 on Thursdays. Cheesesteak sandwich, folks, chicken or steak. And as always, it comes with a side dish of your choice. Straight fries or curly fries, possibly onion rings or potato salad, broccoli, side salad, tater tots, or freshly cooked potato chips. Again, $8.99 for any one of those sides, along with a tasty cheesesteak sandwich.
And it is tasty.
Oh.
It is tasty, Aslan. Let people know. It's not just us, singing the praises of a sponsor. We tried it. I tried the whole menu. It's all really good.
Corey Clark said it, y'all. Believe it. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Won't you the thumbs up? Won't you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well? Lots going on over there, even though it's quote-unquote the off-season. Corey, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. It's been a couple days. I've missed you, but I'm glad we're back doing this for the people.
Yeah, that's right, man. Shout out to the softball team. Catherine Sandercock and Coach Lonnie Alameda, all ACC honors. Kat Sandercock, the ACC Pitcher of the Year. Coach Alameda, the Coach of the Year. 8 players in total on the all ACC teams. Good to see that. Again, peaking. They're ramping up, Corey. They haven't peaked like Oklahoma, so I feel good about that. But well-deserved for the both of them, obviously.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I guess I shouldn't be. I know how voting works, but Lonnie's only been the Coach of the Year 6 times. I feel like I would have thought that she'd be at double digits by now with the way she's kind of run this conference. But, yeah, man, it's well-earned. Well-earned. They're always very good, and that shouldn't be dismissed, like being consistently great and consistently dominant in a conference that's pretty good. The ACC is getting much, much better in softball. Yeah, hats off. That's not easy to do. It's not easy to do.
I wonder if there is any coach in any Power 5 sport that has won double-digit Coach of the Years. I don't even did Krzyzewski even win 10 times?
No,
ACC,
man. He won like 2 times the last 15 years of his career.
Yeah, so I just think it's one of those things where they'll reward the Mike Elko, like take Duke from somewhere out of nowhere as opposed to a guy that might win like 12 games in a year, although there was a down year for the ACC last year. Also, if you've checked out warchant.com in the last day or so, you've seen reporting here now that Destin Hill is in the official Florida State University student directory. Greedy Vance is the one that really owns this story, I think, Corey, because he tweeted out a photo from their state championship victory in the locker room with he and Destin holding a state championship trophy with like a caption, like, get your popcorn ready. Nice. So what more do you need, everybody? But Friday, apparently that will be the day that he will be in Tallahassee. I don't know if I'll be here to bring you guys great sights and sounds, though. I'm going to be going home for the weekend. I didn't know it was going to be this weekend, everybody. Sorry, I made these plans in advance. It's Mother's Day. I got to go.
You need to be there. Yeah, nobody's going to blame you for that, but you need to be there Monday when he walks into a classroom, when it becomes like official that he's here. Anybody can show up to Tallahassee and hang out for a weekend and then bounce. We got to make sure he's officially a part. I know he's officially a student, but it doesn't really feel real until he walks on campus as in a classroom for the first time. Yeah. And I don't even know if kids do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I assume most of these classes are online, or at least a portion of them. So who knows? But hopefully we'll all see Destin Hill soon scoring a bunch of touchdowns.
All right, let's get to it. We'll see how many we can get. We might make this a little bit of an abbreviated program and then drop another one for you Friday as well, so that there's some stuff to help tide you over on the weekend. Or not the weekend, but rather the work week. We're out here doing it for you. Island Chief, let's start off with him, Corey. He says, wake up! Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Hope you all have a great weekend. Amen, brother.
It's a nice sentiment. Absolutely. We're behind that 100%.
Our offense ranked 60th in red zone, defense 61st. Pedestrian, I say. Where do we finish in 2023? And welcome to Destin. I hope he makes a mark. Yes, sir.
That's a prediction. I could say 19th, but what does that matter? I will say when it comes to the offense, they were really hampered by what was it? Yeah, it was the LSU game. Like they had two times they were inside the LSU 10-yard line and didn't score a single point. After being maybe the best red zone team in the country the year before, right? Didn't they have some crazy streak going like a record-breaking streak, a school record-breaking streak for the most consecutive scores inside the red zone the year before when they weren't that good? So I think a lot of those, like if you take those two screw-ups in the LSU game, maybe take the points both times, maybe don't call a pitch on the 1-yard line, you've scored and that percentage goes up and maybe you're top 40 at that point. And I'm trying to think. There was one against Clemson when they went for it on 4th down, but they kind of had to because they were down 3 touchdowns. So that's one that didn't work out. I'm trying to think of any other ones that they were inside the red zone. Were they inside the red zone on the NC State play?
No, I don't think so. I think they're outside the 20.
But they were close. They were getting close. But I didn't think so either. I couldn't remember if like at that point it was a 40-yard field goal or a 39-yard field goal. They eschewed to throw it up to your smallest receiver anyway. So I think I don't expect them to be that bad again. Some of it, goes down to missing kicks. And they're, hopefully the kicking situation will be better. And some of it was in my opinion a head coach that didn't have a great feel for his team to start the season. Like, okay, I get it. Maybe go for it that first half when you've got LSU, when the kid fumbled the punt the first time. And you're like, okay, well, this is found money anyway. If we only kick a field goal here, it feels like they won. So let's go for it on 4th down, but maybe don't throw a fade to Micah Pittman. Maybe throw it to the freakazoid that you have on the team. But they didn't know Johnny Wilson was a freak at the time, I guess. And then the second play, obviously. Oh, I didn't tell you this. I told this story on Headlines. When we went to when I was at the Fox for the Atlanta Seminole Booster tour stop, and I apologize if people listen to both shows. You're going to hear this story again. When I was done talking to Norvell for that riveting 6.5-minute interview, he went to there was a coffee maker right outside that conference room. He's like, oh, look at this. This is cool. And he got his cup ready. He figured out what he wanted. It was like one of these fancy ones that has 5 different settings, and you have to open it and put the pod in. I don't know coffee, guys, but you put the pod in there or whatever. And he wanted a latte, some sort of latte, hazelnut, who knows. Nice. And then it came out after 30 seconds, and does that look like a latte to you? And I'm like, no, not really. And he goes, yep, I screwed it up, but I'm going to try again. He goes, it's a lot like calling a pitch at the goal line. Oh. You learn from your mistakes.
Ew.
And I thought that was a really self-aware, funny comment to make about and it also comes from a guy that won 10 games and is pretty confident in his abilities anyway. But I thought that was a funny little quip from old Mike Norvell saying that he learned from his mistakes. But I think the goal line offense will be, because it should be. You've got Jaheim Bell added to the mix. You've got 2 6-7 targets. We don't know what the receiver core will look like, but it's going to be good. And you've got a really good running game and a quarterback that could run. So I do think the red zone offense will be top 30. I just think there was some weird there was some anomalies there the last season with some red zone stuff that I don't expect this year. We could do a whole nother show now, Aslan. You were worried about how long this would be.
That's a wrap, everybody. We'll see. Well, it's funny that the ones that come to your mind is a game against LSU, which you end up winning, and then a game against Clemson, which, you were battling uphill the entire time. That cost you ultimately. I don't know. I think it was that middle 8 between the end of the second quarter and the beginning of the third quarter that really cost you. So we could quibble over that. But the thing is, the year prior, Corey, when Kenny Dillingham was still here, they were 15th in red zone offense. They were 7th in red zone defense. And they won 5 games. And they doubled their win total miraculously, and then took huge strides backwards in their red zone efficiency. So
maybe that's not the greatest predictor of success is red zone efficiency. That does seem like kind of an anomaly, though, right? Like to be that pedestrian in both of those, but have to take such a huge step back in both of those stats, yet win twice as many games.
Well, I think it's probably the explosive plays, right? Like, feels like so many of their touchdowns were of longer variety. There weren't a lot of like quarterback sneaks on the 1 yard line or 5 yard end around kind of things going on there. So maybe that's part of the equation there. But yeah, I would assume if they find themselves in those situations, they're going to do a better job than converting. I mean, so the raw number of it is they converted 84.8% of the time in the red zone.
Okay.
You know, which that sounds great. Like, that's like 61st. Like, I'll take. I mean, practically 85%. I'll say they'll be at 87%. And red zone defense, they were successful 83% of the time. I'll bump to 85. I'll give them like 2% on each. I don't know where that's.
I would also think they're going to be so much better at the line of scrimmage on defense. With the again, they just weren't good in the interior, folks. I don't know how else to say it. They just weren't. They won 10 games despite having at best a mediocre defensive interior. And that's, again, because Robert Cooper was hurt and played hurt, and Fabian Lovett didn't play half the time. Now you're going to have, we hope, a fully healthy Fabian Lovett, Darrell Jackson, Braden Fisk, and Josh Farmer coming along. That should absolutely help inside the 10-yard line, right? I mean, you got to imagine you're going to be stacked in the middle of the line of scrimmage, and that's a big deal down there.
This is a good question. This might be the breakout video from the show. It's a Dalvinism. Dalvinism asked a question the other week about holding on to Mike Norvell, everybody. So it was his question, not us. Here's a good one, though, Corey. Not that it was a bad one, Dalvinism. We appreciate it. Wake up. Which of these scenarios would you feel better about? Scenario A, Ryan Fitzgerald 50-yard kick to win or lose the game. So I guess we'll say we're down by 2.
Yeah.
Or scenario B, which would you feel better about? Or scenario B, Tate Rodemaker having to lead a 2-minute drill down by 4. Let's say, I don't know, let's say at our own 25.
Yeah.
We'll just say they just got to go 75 yards. That's a good question, man.
I think, man, a really
Come
good
on,
question.
Fitzy, I got you. Let's go.
Well, but I think the thing there is it's just one play. Just get into it one time, Fitzmagic. Just one time drill that thing. And I will say this, nobody in the world will be expecting him to make it. So there will be, including probably himself, so there will be some freedom that comes with that, right?
Yeah.
And I say that not because, I mean, he's not like he has a 20%
still,
percentage.
though, man, he realizes the what's on the stake in a situation like that. And he's not going to be like,
but there's got to be a little freedom that comes with it. It's got to be so much less pressure. And this is just my deranged way of thinking. A 34-yarder to me would have so much more pressure than a 50-yarder. A 50-yarder, no college fan or college teammate is legitimately like going to be upset with you because you missed a 50-yard field goal because those aren't automatics. Those aren't thought of automatics. A 34-yarder is. So a 50-yarder, I feel like he got more freedom to just let it rip.
All right, so what would you feel more comfortable about?
I think
Fitzgerald for 50, Fitzgerald for 35, or Tate Rodemaker 2 minute drill?
Oh, no. Okay, here you go. I would yeah. So I don't know, man. Fitzgerald, I can't get on to Fitzgerald. He beat Syracuse with a game winner. He beat Oklahoma. Those were similar distance.
And that
kicks.
wasn't a 50-yard kick against Oklahoma. That was
no. That's what I'm saying.
And
he beat. So I'm saying out of those two scenarios, I'd still take the 34-yarder over the 50-yarder with Fitzgerald. But I do think there is some freedom that comes with a long kick like that. Like, well, here goes nothing. None of y'all are expecting me to make this a 50-yarder. Why didn't the offense do better? This is crazy what y'all are asking me to do. And like, remember the wide left? I know maybe it was the third wide right. The Winky game down there in 2000.
Matty Munyon.
And he missed. I think that was like a 49-yard field goal, right?
It was long.
And he hit the crap out of it. Like it was the best. It was the most impressive missed kick of his career. Because he gave it a real run. Like, it definitely had the distance.
Yeah, 49 yards.
And that was a kid that sometimes it seemed like would come up short or shank him on like 37-yarders. So with a 49-yarder, he's like, well, here goes nothing, man. I got nothing to lose. Nobody's expecting me to make this. And he gave it a real run. That was closer than any of the other wide rights. So, yeah, I do think that to get to the answer to the question, though, I think I would take Fitzgerald at 50. Because Rodemaker would have to string together 7 or 8 plays. And it's just, for Fitzgerald, it's just one kick. And he's won a couple of games before. So I think I'd go with Fitzgerald. But That's a really good question. I'm not sold on my answer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many variables, right? Like, who are they playing, home, away? Like, is it at Clemson? Is it at home against? I don't know. Who do we got?
Just answer the question, Aslan. Come on. We're
No,
going to
'cause I'm just
say
saying, I don't-
it's at Wake Forest. I'll give you the scenario. It's at Wake Forest. They're down by 4 if Rodemaker has the ball. They're down by 2 if Fitzgerald's kicking the 50-yarder.
Bro, Tate just got to hand the ball off maybe once or twice, throw 2 completions, and they're in the red zone. And then he's going to have 4 chances at it, too. So we talk about Fitzgerald having 1 chance. Like, I think Tate gets inside the 15, and then it's like you got 4 cracks.
I do. I think I would be confident with him moving the ball 40 or 50 yards against pretty soft coverage. Norvell would remind him, look, they're not going to be playing bump and run on 14. So those are going to be an 8-yard out to Johnny Wilson or a stop route will be there all day. Throw it to your backs, throw it to your tight ends who are good. But once you get inside that other team's 20 and there's 31 seconds left and you're down by 4 and you need a touchdown, that's where it gets dicey. I'm
going with Tate. I'm crazy. I'm going to go Tate.
Hey man, he did it on the road. He's got some magic in him.
VitaminEnergy.com. Vitamin with benefits. We all like things with benefits. This is vitamins, and the benefit is energy. 7 hours of it, maybe even more, probably more, because the stuff kicks, man. It slaps, as the kids would say. No sugar, so there's no sugar crash, no jitters, none of that funny business, just vitamins and energy. Go to VitaminEnergy.com, promo code WARCHAMP, BOGO, B-O-G-O, and an item of equal or lesser value will be yours for absolutely free just for using the promo code WARCHAMPBOGO, B-O-G-O. It's Mother's Day weekend. You got a drive ahead of you, maybe even not. Take the Energy Mood Plus, the Vitamin Energy Mood Plus. Get in a good mood. Mom will be like, wow, look at you. What's gotten into you? Like, Mom, I just love you. I just love being around you. VitaminEnergy.com, Corey.
Man, it's the best stuff on earth. I don't say that lightly. It gets me. Look, man, I work out more than I should. I think I don't know, Aslan. Is there a limit to how much you should work out? Probably. I feel like I might be bumping my head against it. Like, is this really good for my body to do this an hour every day? But hey, can't argue with the results.
No, sir.
And you can't argue with the results of Vitamin Energy because I take a little shot of that bad boy before I go work out, and I'm running around the room after the workout. I'm challenging people to fights. Well, I don't take the mood. I need to stabilize it with the mood one, and that would help. But either way, it gets the juices flowing. And the biggest thing, because remember I took it on the live show.
Oh yeah.
And look, there was no crash. I went to bed and I took that at like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
1 a.m. I'm still going strong, but I'm not wired. I'm not bouncing off the walls. It's just a normal fun. Hey, let's go do some dips. Let's go do some push-ups. That kind of normal stuff that people do at 1 a.m. That's what you get out of Vitamin Energy, man.
Yeah. VitaminEnergy.com, promo code WARCHAMP, BOGO, B-O-G-O. Shake it and take it, VitaminEnergy.com. Let's go down to Naples. Mark, our guy, M. Adam CZ. Somebody asked us about what Destin Hill's name is going to be. CP Noles asking, is Destin Hill going to go by Hill or Payson? He's listed as Payson in the directory. Not sure of that. We'll see what happens when he's listed on the roster.
You mean his last name is Payson?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He originally, when he was first going through the recruiting process, he went by Destin Payson, and then it became Destin Hill. So, it's in Ira's story that I'm reading right now. Yeah. It'll whenever he's listed on the Florida State roster, I think that's probably going to be the bigger indicator. I would imagine if he enrolled as Payson, that's probably his preference. But who knows? We'll see. We'll probably talk to him though at some point because Mike lets us talk to his players. That's pretty cool.
I will explain this because if you're on Warchant and you're like, well, why would you put in the headline Florida State signee Destin Hill, now officially an FSU student directory, and in the second sentence talk about Hill, who previously went by the name Destin Payson, is listed in the FSU student directory under that name. Basically being like, why didn't you use the name Destin Payson in the headline? It's because none of you know the name Destin Payson.
Yes.
Everybody knows the name Destin Hill. So we have to let you know that if we put Destin Hazon in the portal, you'd be like, who? Is there another Destin? So that's why you put Destin Hill. And then obviously whatever he wants to be known by moving forward, assuming we are moving forward with my man, that's what we'll call him and that's what we'll write his name as.
J School with Corey Clark, everybody. Brought to you by the Grady School of Journalism.
That's right.
That's Mark in Naples. Wake up, excited, happy for Destin, but I just hope he doesn't have too much pressure on him to perform early. Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect scenario for him. He's coming into a ready-made offense that's already got a lot of playmakers. He can learn. Nobody's expecting him to be – are you not expecting him to do anything this year, are you, Aslan?
No, not really.
Yeah.
He says it's like expecting Brooks Koepka to win a major in his first start after being out for 2 years, not playing any competitive golf in that time. Solid analogy. Solid analogy.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Jaylen Key, would be great to land him for depth. I don't agree with that. I think it'd be great to land him for starting quality production. But anyhow, would seem to be a no-brainer for both sides since he is from Tallahassee and should play a lot right away. And don't you think it's fun battling Alabama for recruits again? It seems like yesterday we were hoping to beat out UTEP for a 3-star. Yes, Corey, I remember how you used to use UTEP as your punching bag. Too funny.
I did.
But I don't think Norvell and Fuller should lose sleep if they don't land Jaylen Key. It's not like it's Derwin James or LaMarcus Joyner, but for depth, it would be wonderful. Can't expect Dent and Shaheem to play every snap and be effective for every snap. Go Noles, always appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I agree. But again, I think with Aslan, I think the thought is he could beat one of them out. He's not coming here to be a backup safety. The problem that Florida State has, it is kind of like, I think I brought this up last week, it's kind of like the scenario they had with Jordan Travis last year when everybody wanted them to go into the portal. It's like, well, you're not going to get a great – it might be hard to convince a really good quarterback or a Power 5 quarterback to come to Florida State where there is a real competition for a starting spot. And if Jaylen Key comes to Florida State, there is an absolute competition for the starting spot. He is not being promised a starting role. He is going to be up against two guys that think they're starters, that have gotten starter reps in the past. Akeem Dent's played 1,000 snaps at Florida State, 1,200 snaps. He's played a ton of football for Florida State. He's not going to be easy to knock off. And Shaheem Brown, Adam Fuller thinks he could be an NFL player. So the competition, it's not like he's walking into a job. And maybe at Alabama, you don't have, like, it's Alabama. We get it. They got a bunch of dudes, and they've got some really good secondary players, surely. But both their safeties left, didn't you say, Aslan?
Yes,
so you feel like you have more of it's an actual competition where you could, if you're the best player, you're going to, and I think that'd be the same way at Florida State, but in a player's mind, okay, that is a vacant job. Not that's a job I have to go wrestle away from someone that's already has it. That's a vacant job that I can go in. And so I think there is something to that, but also it's Alabama too. If you lose a battle with Alabama, it's not the worst thing in the world. It does make your safety position a little precarious. You need to wrap Shaheem and Akeem Dent in bubble wrap. The EAM team, you got to wrap them in bubble wrap until LSU.
Yeah, 1,884 snaps for Akeem. I do wonder. Because listen, Alabama had a spring football just like Florida State, so whoever they planned on using at safety got a lot of reps there too. And I wonder whoever they were working at those positions, how much they've played compared to like Shaheem. So it could be somewhat of a similar kind of situation in terms of being able to walk onto a field and get a job. I just think, maybe like LSU, he's not starting, but maybe by week 5 or 6 he is. I mean, I think they would lose sleep if they don't get Jaylen Key, because I think Jaylen Key, it's like a luxury and a necessity almost. And it's like, listen, we all can agree like they need help at safety. They need at least minimum depth. But if you can bring a guy in that you feel good about, that you think maybe is better than what you have, at least like right now in the here and now, maybe by week 7, Shaheem's better than him. Maybe, he can kind of be a little bit of a stopgap between now and when Shaheem's totally ready, but I think Shaheem's good to go now. I'm not going to undersell this one. I hope we don't do that too much. I hope we're not like, as soon as they don't get somewhere, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, if they don't get Keon Coleman to me, that's not that big. That feels like a complete 110% luxury to me.
Yeah,
I feel like the
absolutely.
offense is going to be great no matter what. Jaylen Key, I don't hold in that. I'm not saying that he's Derwin or LaMarcus Joyner, but I would really, 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 really like somebody like
Look,
that.
we whether it's him or somebody else, I don't think any of us are going to. If we get to August and they're too deep at safety, is 2 true freshmen. Yikes. That's a big deal. So nobody is going to dispute that. Nobody on this show, anyway, will dismiss the importance of getting unexperienced safety. Whether it's Jaylen Key or somebody else, you've got to bring in somebody that's played some college football or figure out who's going to be your safety, because you can't be a twisted ankle away from the third quarter against LSU up by 6 having a true freshman at safety. I mean, I don't know that that's – and, man, maybe KJ Kirkland ends up being a freshman All-American and is awesome, but that's not how you want to go into a season. You need a little bit of you need some experience. You need at least 3 guys back there you can count on.
MyBookie.ag. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at MyBookie.ag. And when you use the promo code WARCHANT and sign up, you will get an instant cash deposit bonus. Gives you more money to play with. So if you drop a few $100s in there, they'll give you a percentage of a cash bonus that you can use instantly to bet on winners out there. Corey, what you thinking about what's going on in the Eastern Conference now? The Celtics and the Sixers. Sixers can close this thing out at home, but they are getting 2 points. That's a stinky line. I feel like you almost need to kind of lean into the Celtics -2. What do you think?
That is a weird line. But yeah, I think the Sixers just to me feel like a team that never closes it out when they're supposed to. They have a shot here. And I just think the Celtics were in the same position last year, I think with the Bucks maybe or somebody else. They had to go win Game 6 on the road.
Yeah, you're right.
And then Game 7 they won at home. So, yeah, I don't trust the Sixers, man. I mean, everybody's talking smack about the Celtics and how bad they've been and they're not good at home and yada, yada, but they are good on the road. And I just don't trust the Sixers. I don't trust that organization, that franchise. I haven't for a while. So, yeah, I think the Celtics are going to win. But the Celtics are favored by 2.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, man, that is a stinky one. I think the Celtics are going to win by 8. So do with that what you will.
MyBookie.ag. Use that promo code WARCHANT. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at MyBookie.ag. Back at it, Corey. Let's get to it. It's our guy, Derek, XDQ004. Wake up! Ponder this FSU played in the first BCS championship, lost, then went on to win the last BCS championship. FSU played in the first college football playoff and lost. This is the last year of the college football playoff with 4 teams. I know I'm not the only one thinking this. I am now, though. That's a good – everyone always talks about, like, the W, right? Like quarterbacks with the last name W. I've heard that one. People are now saying 93, 99, 2013, maybe 2023, but that's not a complete pattern there.
Right.
That's okay. I like that one. That'd be a really cool – that'd be a slam dunk, awesome Trivial Pursuit question, right? Like what college football program was the first to win the was in the first and the last BCS and won the last one, and same thing with the playoff. I like that. All right, Derek, let's spread that across the from C to C. What do you think about that, Corey? You in on it?
I like the. I also like the every 10 years one. Like, yeah, they didn't win it. They didn't win a championship in 2003, but they were number 2 in the country at one point in the season, right?
Yes.
Until they went to Clemson and laid that
third. I think I might have been third.
They laid that enormous egg, but they were in position to play for a championship in November.
Yes,
and then they won it. So 93 they were in a position to play for a championship clearly in November. 2003 they were. 2013 clearly they were. So let's just get there again. Let's get to where they are They are ranked in the top 3 late in November.
Yeah.
But whatever happens. But at least it's a fun, meaningful season, and you're back there where you belong. So that's what I'm looking to more than the. I mean, it'd be cool if they lost the first year of the playoff and then closed it out with a win. That'd be cool. That'd be much cooler than my perspective.
Yeah, that's our barometer here on the show. Just be in the thick of it in November. So I don't care if it's LSU or Clemson. Just November being the thick of it. That's all I want, man. That's all I want. If you're wondering why we didn't include 83, Corey, you want to let the folks know why we're not including 83?
Because they were not in contention. In 83, they had a great offense, but a horrible defense. Big win against LSU that year, though, in 83. But, yeah, they struggled there late, got blown out by Florida late. I think they got blown out by somebody else late in 83. They not the best defense of Bobby Bowden's tenure. But hey, it brought you Mickey Andrews because he came the very next year when Bowden realized this ain't cutting it. It sucks to keep winning games 40-35 or losing them, 53-14. So we're gonna get a real defensive coordinator, and then the program took off. So in that regard, 83 was a great year too because it brought you Mickey Andrews.
So they opened up the year. They won their first game 47-46
against East Carolina, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Then they beat LSU apparently lost to Tulane, but then were credited with the win via forfeit.
Via forfeit. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Tulane, cheating Tulane, man. Can never trust those guys.
They were 9th in the country going into that game.
Yeah,
Florida State.
It's a big win against LSU.
Yeah. Then they lost to Auburn, lost to Pitt by 1 in Pitt.
Yeah, the Auburn game was a tough one too. That was man, I remember that game. So what was the score of that game?
They were third in the country, Auburn. They finished the year 11-1.
Yeah,
it was 27-24 Tigers.
Yeah, and Auburn scored late to win that game. They also scored, I feel like, if you could look at the box score, I feel like they scored on like the last play of the first half on like a 20-something yard screen pass where Florida – it was such a crazy call to call it screen pass. And, like, he caught it in – it wasn't like they threw it in the end zone and he caught it on the last play. He caught it at, like, the 18 and just bounced off 3 or 4 guys and then scored on, like, the final play or with, like, a couple of seconds left.
It says that time said zeros, shows here on the box score, zeros left after AG, 27-yard
yeah.
pass.
So it's a 27-yard screen pass. When maybe they were just trying to set up a field goal, and he ends up running it in with no time left. So if you push him out at the 1 yard line right there, instead of getting the 3 points, they don't get the 7 either, and you win the game. But they did not win the game. What I remember about that trip, Aslan, because I was at that game, so it might have been my first road game. Is my dad showed me, we walked past these railroad tracks on the way to the stadium, and he showed me the coin trick, the quarter trick. You put a quarter on the rail on the what do you call them? The rail lines?
Okay, the tracks?
The tracks, yeah. You put a quarter on the tracks, and when you come back, try to find it. And it's really cool. I did it with Brady, I don't know, 8 years ago or so.
What is?
So it melts. So you put a quarter on the track or a penny or something, but a quarter is the best one, or a nickel. And when you come back, it's basically melted. It's been flattened completely, but you still have the outline of the quarter and the outline of like the president's head, but it's completely flat and it feels like a bottle cap almost.
Huh.
It's really cool. Folks, go out there and try it. Go out there and just do stuff with trains. Just get near train tracks and have some fun. Live some life. There's a lot of life to live by train tracks.
Dude, the Rosillo podcast used to have a read about like train track safety, like be careful when you come up on a train track. Like, and he read it like with real urgency in his voice, and it was for months. I was like, wow, This is really a thing. So yeah, be careful out there.
Yeah, I remember Jeff Cameron had a PSA on his show back on the old station where they would do train track safety. Yeah. And I'll never, ever understand how people get hit. I can understand how a car gets hit by a train when you're trying to go through it real quick or you don't hear it or your radio's on. But how is a person? Yeah. Are you walking on the tracks late at night and you don't feel the ground shaking, you don't hear it, you don't jump out of the way of it? That's always been that's why I never really got into Stand By Me, the movie from the 80s. How'd Ray Brower get hit by a train? What was he doing? Do you have his headphones in?
Oh, gosh. The question from Derek.
Sorry.
Predict Jordan Travis's stat line in terms of what numbers he would need to produce the Heisman or the national championship, including rushing and receiving totals. Support all the great people that make Warchant and FSU great. Go Noles. I'm going to pull up Caleb Williams last year to give us a little bit of a barometer. So Caleb threw for 45, had 42 in the air, only 5 picks. And he ran for 442 and 6 touchdowns. So he had 48.
He ran for 442? Wow.
No, I'm sorry, 382. He ran for 442 the year before at Oklahoma. He ran for 382, but he had 10 touchdowns on the ground. So he had 52 touchdowns. I think Jordan is going to need over 45 total touchdowns. And he's going to need pretty close to 5,000 yards. No, I'll say he needs to be at like 4,200. And they're going to need, but they'll have to be clean, I think, at that point. Like they'll need to be probably undefeated, I would think, with those numbers.
Yeah, he can't. They can't lose more than one game for him to have a shot. But I don't know that. I mean, the numbers matter. You can't complete 51% of your passes and have as many interceptions as touchdowns and have any chance. But I mean, I think so much of it has to do with those moments. You know, that Florida game, he was 13 of 30, but those were Heisman-worthy plays that he made, and those are the things that stand out to voters because it's hard to even parse and differentiate stats anymore. They're all ridiculous. The kid at Washington had ridiculous numbers. Drake May is going to have ridiculous numbers. Caleb Williams is going to have ridiculous numbers. How you stand out is the wow plays you make when people are watching. So he's got some chances, LSU in particular, but then maybe Clemson twice. He's got some chances with the whole country watching to not just win those games and put up good stats, but have wow plays. That's his shot. So it's hard to even like try to guess what those numbers would be. I would think what if he had 38 touchdowns total? But against Florida, when they're down by 6, he has an 81-yard run with 30 seconds left. Yeah, I mean those things matter too, more than I think the numbers, because the numbers have been so they just don't matter. They've been decreased in value because everybody puts up huge numbers now. So Caleb Williams is awesome, by the way. He played big in all their biggest games. So you just got to do that. I think Jordan Travis, honestly, would have been a guy that could have been invited to New York last year with the season he had, if he went into the season with any hype at all. You know what I mean? LSU, he was really good. Louisville, I mean, it didn't help that they won Louisville without him. But those games, they other than the NC State game, he was really good at every game he played. So I think now that he's got the expectations, if he just has a similar season, how many touchdowns did he account for last year, Aslan?
Oh, I was
sorry.
On that page. No,
I thought you were on that page.
That's but I went to his game log. He ran for 7, threw for 24.
So 31, that's probably not enough. You probably need, I don't know. I say that. Who knows anymore? But I would think it would look weird if like Jordan Travis accounted for 31 touchdowns and his counterparts or the guys his biggest competitors all had 50. So if you can get just in the neighborhood, 38 to 40 something, and then also have those moments he had last year, I think he's in contention, man. As long as they win. Can't go 7-6 and win a Heisman.
It'd be weird. You could give me like 2 different stat packs on him and be like, all right, which one do you think is going to win the Heisman? Which one do you think is like national championship caliber? I think you can take the lesser, if you will, like the lesser of the numbers, and you could still win a national championship with it, but you might not be able to win a Heisman with it. If that makes sense. I don't think you'll have to have Caleb Williams-esque numbers for this team to win a national championship, because he's going to hand the ball off a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe he'll have a hat on in a lot of these games again. I mean, he did last year, and they were nowhere near as good as not nowhere, but we think they're, I don't know, significantly maybe too strong of a word. We think they're going to be better than they were last year. So he might find himself in 4 more games where he's wearing a cap with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. So that kind of limits the amount of numbers you can get. And it's not like he's going to be throwing for 450 and 5 touchdowns, because they're going to, there'll be 2 or 3 on the ground by Trey Benson and Lawrence Toafili. So, get over 40 touchdowns and get in the neighborhood of 4,200 total yards, and you'll be in New York.
Okay, there you go. I like it.
Because let me see, you threw for 3,200 and you ran for 400 last year, so you had 3,600 yards. Get a little.
And he was hurt. Remember, I mean, after that Louisville game, he wasn't himself running for a while. Like, imagine him fully healthy, and if he stays fully healthy, get that number up to 600 rushing yards, which he very well could. Then that's definitely New York worthy.
Last one. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do another program for you. WWC 1117. So now we know his PIN code.
Yep, absolutely.
Come on, guys. And we know his name. He put his name in his signature. Should I say his name now or no?
I mean, if he put it in his signature, I feel like, well, let's protect him this time.
Okay.
But from now on, clearly he wants us to know his name.
Yeah. All right, Lou. You hearing that, Lou? Tighten up. Tighten up. Go Noles. If the Warchant staff has a punt, pass, kick contest, maybe a 40-yard dash component, what is the order of finish? Ooh. My ego might need to come out on this one. I won't do well in the 40. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't win this because I don't think my pass would be. I think punt and kick, I'll be all right. I think I'll be the top of that. But pass, I don't know. Corey's throwing soft toss with his boy in the backyard for the last 8 years. So
yeah, but underhanded. I can't throw overhanded very much anymore. My arm is shot. My shoulder's shot.
And then we wonder why Brady's not a complete elite athlete. Come on, man.
I know. I should have gotten some. I feel like I need surgery or something, but yeah. So I throw batting practice to him from like 30 feet and as hard as I can.
Yeah.
As hard as I can physically right now from 30 feet. And he just bombs the crap out of it.
Nice.
And it's not like I'm throwing from the mound. I'm throwing 30 feet, and I'm like, man, I'm going to smoke him right here. He thinks, and no, he pulls everything. I can't get it past him from 30 feet, which says as much about my arm as it does his hitting ability. But no, I would definitely dust Ira and Gene in a race. And I think I would dust Tom too. It'd be
Listen,
between you and Jeff.
I ran a timed 40 in 2013, and it was 5.2. So
okay.
I was
I think I
fast in
got
my
you.
youth. I am not. I am no longer fast.
I was running in 2008, and I remember it specifically because Ira made me go out in between a Buster Posey doubleheader.
Mm-hmm.
I was running like in the low 4.8s.
All right.
Now this was like, look, man, this was 15 years ago. I was in peak. Well, now I'm in my peak physical condition, but I've added 15 years, so I don't think I could break 5 anymore, maybe. But I think I could be right there, like right in the 4.98 or 5.03. And Jeff, clearly, if Jeff's in good shape, he beats all of us because he ran the 200 meter in high school. Like he was a athlete. He could dunk, like he could do reverse dunks, like he was just born with it. But he's put on a few. And I'm probably I would guess 60 or 70 pounds lighter than him. So I think it would be close. I think it'd be close between the three of us.
I don't know where's Jeff's athleticism going to shine in a punt pass kick.
Well, I was thinking more of the 40-yard dash. In the
Okay.
punt pass kick, I think I don't know. I think he would be able to throw a ball pretty well.
Yeah.
But I think the punting and kicking is just random.
Yeah.
Like who do you think like Tom's a really good golfer? Does any of that equate to punting and passing? I don't think so.
It's all in the hips. Yeah.
What about the new kid?
Yeah, Matt Lasser. Matt Lasser's he's limber. He's young.
Yeah, he is young.
He might have us in the 40. I'll put who wins? Will Ira between Ira and Langston? Who finished ahead of one another?
Oh, Ira's so. I know Ira's competitiveness. Like we look, we all know Ira's not in the best shape, but he is very competitive, and he's much more athletic than anybody would think.
Yes.
So I think that'd be a really good race. I will say this: put us up against any other outlets that cover Florida State, and Warchant is crushing it. It's crushing it. It would not be a competition. If we did like a 4x1, it'd be no. I don't know who leads us off. Ira, I guess maybe, but it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. Jeff would bring it home.
I'll go Jeff, Corey, myself, Tom, Gene, Ira, Langston, and Lasser. I still think Lasser. He doesn't have the life lived.
He's got to earn it. Yeah. Are you talking about the punt pass?
Yeah, all of them. I'm bundling all four of them together.
I think you got me. No, I think you'd beat me in the punt pass kick. I can't throw, and I can punt it. I don't know, man. 26 yards, maybe 25 yards.
I can kick it high, but I cannot kick it. I cannot punt it high and far. But I guess I could. But we rugbyed it. If we rugbyed it, though. If we rugbyed it,
Yeah. I think you would win. I think you'd probably have the strongest leg of anybody.
Thank you, Corey. All right, that's a wrap for us. Stay connected to warchant.com. It is the ultimate Seminoles sports source. Recruiting news around the clock over on the PRB, the Premium Recruiting Board. So go over there, but you got to be a subscriber to do that. Thumbs up on the way out, please. 5-star rating and review as well. He is Corey M. Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.